Good afternoon, all. On behalf of IoT Academy, we welcome you all for the second session of National Level Faculty Development Program on IPR, Entrepreneurship Development and Startups. Let me introduce the resource person of today's session, Dr. M. Uma Raman. Dr. Uma Raman is the professor and head of the Department of Management Studies at Rajalakshmi Engineering College, Chennai. She has 23 years of teaching and research experience. Her areas of research are human resource, organizational culture, talent retention, and employer branding. Dr. Uma mentors students on entrepreneurship and startups and had given numerous lectures as a part of IIC training activities. She was the IIC brand ambassador of the Ministry of Education Innovation Council. Dr. Uma has published 40 papers in national and international journals and had been invited as a resource person to chair the technical sessions in national and international conferences. She was awarded with APJ Abdul Kalam Teaching Excellence Award by Marina Labs, Best Researcher Award, and Yuva Changemaker and Mentor Award. She has written books on digital marketing, digital finance in India, and chapters on talent management and training and development program. We welcome you, ma'am, and with this, we hand over the session to Dr. Uma Raman. Ma'am, please.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible and your slides are also visible, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon to one and all present here. It gives me immense pleasure to be a part of this IoT Academy and to give some insights on what I had understood as what is about entrepreneurship and what it takes for somebody to be an entrepreneur and how this journey of entrepreneurship is to be seen and maybe experienced over a period of time. Thank you, IoT Academy, for giving this opportunity. And it is a real pleasure to address enlightened minds in the afternoon. Hope I would not bore you. I've got some vital inputs which I like to share, and maybe like you will also know something new out of it, which will have some impact in wherever you deliberate this as a session anywhere across the globe. Now, we'll start with this quote. When everything seems to be going against you, remember that the airplane takes off against the wind, not with it. A famous quote said by Henry Ford. This quote really applies to the concept of entrepreneurship. Now, entrepreneurship, as most of us who are present here very well understand, it as a concept of developing and managing a business venture in order to gain profit by taking several risks in the corporate world. To make it very simple, we try to define entrepreneurship as a willingness to start a new business. Maybe it has got a very impactful role to play in the development of the economy and expanding our business across the globe. To become an entrepreneur, to be very clear, to become an entrepreneur, there's a lot of thinking which has to go into it. Now, before that, we shall try to understand how this talk for an hour is going to be taken forward. We'll try to know what is entrepreneurial mindset and how that works for every different individuals and how to get started as an entrepreneur. What do you mean by creativity? What is the need for innovation? How do you come across an idea? And how do you get started? What are the strategies required to be a successful entrepreneur? And what is the role of Government of India, which is having a deep impact and a deep dream to create entrepreneurs because our economy has to sustain. So what is the role of Government of India and how one can become a successful entrepreneur? Now, when we say entrepreneurial mindset, what exactly we are trying to say? Ma'am, you want my video on? Is it okay if I'm not with the video?
Ma'am, no issues, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. So now when we say entrepreneurial mindset, we try to understand these five main important factors or qualities which one has to possess. Now, what we mean by an entrepreneurial mindset? Because all of us have got our own thinking capacities and we have our own ways of judging, thinking, inferring, trying to understand as it when it comes in the situation. Now, when we speak exactly specifically about a mindset where a person wants to become an entrepreneur, it is a way that enables you to overcome challenges, be decisive, accept responsibility for all your outcomes. This mindset needs a constant improvement and that will hone your skills, learn from your mistakes, and takes continuous actions on our ideas. Now, anybody who wants to become an entrepreneur has to definitely have this entrepreneurial mindset. Now, the biggest problem is this entrepreneurial mindset is not what we would expect. It's not the failure, nor the economy, nor the bad ideas. It's the doubt in ourselves, our surrounding, and our abilities. Sometimes a self-doubt kills an individual's dream long before the other factors come into the play. So, as all of us are unique, we definitely need to have some sort of skill set and we should know how to think and act. And this forms the basis for an entrepreneurial mindset. A much long time before, we had almost a debate whether these entrepreneurs are born or made or it is both the way. Sometimes we say there is a business gene in an individual. That is why they are very successful. Gone all those days where we were trying to quote the earlier circumstances and prove that this is something which is inherited. It is not that way. There are so many people who have acquired all such skills, have come up successfully over a period of time because of these five entrepreneurial mindset. Now let us try to understand one by one. When we say decisiveness, to succeed as an entrepreneur, one must have the ability to look at a problem or a situation, try to understand the available resources, and to take a confident decision to proceed further. The ability as a decision maker will make or break the future of successes. Indecision is one of the greatest causes of business failure. So, when we cannot decide what to do, and when we try to delay the action, we will end up in getting the issue unsolved. Imagine the dreams big businesses has, and when they fail to take action, the dream is killed. Like many other skills, generally when we highlight to be an entrepreneur, being decisive is also a skill that can and should be practiced to strengthen the day-to-day affair, starting with the smallest and tiniest decisions which we take will try to make us groom us to be an entrepreneur at a later date. The second most important skill when we talk about a successful entrepreneur is the confidence. We like to have this confidence inbuilt us almost all of the time. Sometimes it doesn't come to us the way we require. We don't know what went wrong, or we will not be able to understand where this has gone wrong. And believe me, this is one of the most important quality of an entrepreneur, trying to understand how to deal, how to emerge, how to behave, how to react in an uncomfortable situation, and then that too you are able to confidently face it. The difference between appearing good or bad at something is often a matter of acting confidently. So, this is also a unique quality or maybe a mindset which you need to possess to become a successful entrepreneur. The third main important characteristics or a quality which will determine somebody to be a successful entrepreneur is accountability. Entrepreneurial mindset comes from taking responsibility for your actions and outcomes. We need to internalize the concept and accept that everything happens at work. I'm responsible for it. Everything that happens to business, I'm responsible for it. Whether I succeed or fail, it is my responsibility. So, from the moment we start accepting that it is our responsibility and maybe we hold ourselves accountable, we are growing and we see to it we turn every action to be performed correctly because there will be no excuses. And when you don't have any excuses and we don't stop blaming somebody and we stop blaming somebody and take ownership of it, so everything will fall in line and the problem gets fixed. The fourth main quality one looks out into an entrepreneur is resilience. Even though it is a very latest term which has been revolving around the globe, it's really an important term both as an individual or as an entrepreneur. Because often we try to learn from the mistakes what happens. Because mistakes are inevitable and it's a part of our growth. Every misstep plummets you into a self doubt. And when we see it as wrong, we try to fail in ourselves. We are not able to balance ourselves. The mind shift takes resilience, and that is the fundamental and foundational to the entrepreneurial mindset. Now, normally, success doesn't happen in a straight line, it doesn't happen in one go. There may be wrong turns, wrong routes, making mistakes, and finally, something turns out to be successful. So, we need to understand and we should know how to behave, deal with catastrophic mistakes. We are supposed to have the ability to handle the small and simple decisions. Resilience will definitely enable us to think, act, and move iteratively, making small incremental corrections in the journey of entrepreneurship. The last quality, which I presume and which all of us believe is very essential, is humility. Humility is freedom from pride or arrogance, and it ties all the characteristics of entrepreneurship. From decisiveness to confidence, humility will keep you focused and centered. From accountability to resilience, will continue to move forward through failures, mistakes, and upsets. This is accomplished with humility. There's another term which goes hand in hand with the term humility. We talk about coachability. When we try to accomplish big things in life, we should be willing to learn from others and nourish a growth mindset. To do big things, to do wonderful things, we need to grow. And how do we grow? We grow by learning. Whatever we try to accomplish, somebody would be there as a guide or a mentor or a supporter who tries to channelize their views and thoughts in the right way. And we need to have a mindset where we try to learn from them so that ultimately we are successful. So now once if this 5 qualities are maybe inbuilt or maybe adopted by a person, the journey of entrepreneurship becomes very smooth. I just wanted to share with all of you. There are some common myths about entrepreneurship. Normally, when we say No, this that certain things is not for me. It is not something which is okay with me. This will not come to me, or maybe this is not my cup of tea. And the same way, people think entrepreneurship is for somebody who has got that all those talents, who has got a good financial background, and he or she is the person who is a genius, and they have done everything properly, and that is why today they are successful. Maybe agreed, you need a proper plan, you need a proper understanding, but still, these are some common myths which we normally are not supposed to take into account in case you want to grow. Like parenthood, entrepreneurship is not fair for the faint hearted. Every entrepreneur, if you meet across, they will say the effort they have put it, and what is the business is their baby, because it is tough emotionally, physically, and spiritually. To start a business, you require courage, confidence, and also, to an extent, an amount of risk taking. But there are so many misconceptions which prevents people from taking this leap. Let us see one by one. You need to wait for the right time. A common belief is that you must wait for the right time to launch a business. People always say this is not the time for you. You're getting into so many entangles, and this is a hurdle, and maybe this forecast is not good for you. There are so many people who try to say that you need to understand this is not the correct moment to launch something. Believe me, the truth is that never really there is something called as right time. Usually, we are never ready for anything fully at any particular point of time. To tell you the secret to prepare as best as you can and take small steps, we need not find a correct time. It could be years, months, but if we are not going to act, we are not going to get anywhere across the globe. If we are going to say the right moment has not arrived, we will never find the right moment. There will not be any alarm which goes off saying that today is the right day. A steep learning curve normally is required for a new entrepreneur, and a lot of what you need to do cannot be learned by books. The sooner you begin, the closer we are across to the long term dream of building a profitable, sustainable business. The second myth is you need to know everything. There is a saying, entrepreneurs are lifelong learners. Agreed. Real entrepreneurs always thrive to be in a constant state of learning because it is a competitive world. And all entrepreneurs who are lifelong learners, they enjoy creating, improvising, and pushing the boundaries of their business. There cannot be a point where we are at our best in the instant or the initial moment of our business. With the right mindset, as we steadily progress, we try to acquire energy, we try to be innovative, we have the ability to push ourselves outside our comfort zone. So slowly we start learning as we start progressing. The third myth is you need to be a risk taker. Agreed, today in any business cycle, in any business arena, risk is a huge predominant player. And to an extent, entrepreneurship is considered as a risky proposition. Successful entrepreneurs tailor the decision making process. Again, I repeat, successful entrepreneurs tailor their decision making process to reduce risk. And they also follow a calculated learning and experimentation process. They actively take steps how to mitigate risk early and continuously so that they don't encounter into a huge risk. The fourth myth, of course, it's a disclaimer because people always believe you need to have a business plan to prove yourself, to prove that what is your business, and to prove you are having a proper plan. But this is also a myth. You need a business plan. Researches have been done. The famous college, Babson College, they conducted a research to understand whether there's a need for writing a business plan before you launch a new venture, or if you don't have a business plan, will it affect the performance of business? The analysis revealed, according to the Babson College research, that there was no difference exactly to understand the performance of a business with or without writing a business plan. So the data shows us entrepreneur requires, if at all, he requires the support of a funder or an investor who has to provide him some money to run his business. There is no need for a business plan. If you're going to do a bootstrapping, I don't think there is a need for a business plan because these are the funds which you take from what is already available, and how to go about that is already understood. Only in case of a financial requirement, we try to study and we try to compete and we try to give the project, we try to pitch up an idea and try to find out who will be able to contribute more to us. And the last myth, you need a big, huge budget. Not necessary. There have been success stories earlier where we try to understand that there is not necessarily you need to have a huge amount with you, which is required to start a business. Lot of funding bodies, lot of agencies are there who are ready to cater to the needs of the entrepreneur. And you get a lot of facilities, provision for loans, grants, subsidies, or available from the government's corner, so that you need not try to run around trying to see that you need to have a huge fund with you to see that you need to start a business with a lot of money. Only then you will be able to achieve. Now, so are we ready? Can we get started? And how do we start? These two components, creativity and innovation, plays a vital role in deciding somebody is a successful entrepreneur. So when we say we are a successful entrepreneur or our business is very successful, both these components play a huge role. I think I need not explain what is creativity, and I'm not going in detail what is innovation. In simple sense, when you try to come out of something out of box thinking, you dream or you aspire or you try to figure out something new, you are said to be creative. You find out something new, you modify something new from the existing point, and that leads to innovation. When you put together these two as a funnel, the end result is entrepreneurship, which is actually the need of the hour across the globe. Now, how do we come out, or how do you understand, or how do we frame, and how do we take this concept further? Try to understand how can we find opportunities for innovation. Today, every nook and corner of the globe, you have something innovative. People are trying to find out something new, try to modify something new and give it to the people, customize it and trying to provide, trying to break down all the earlier traditional conservative things and coming out with new ideas. So maybe once we start exploring it, we may get numerous ideas. But we need to know, we need to have this filter with us to understand what are we going to do and why are we going to do this. The purpose has to be studied carefully. The purpose of understanding is required because ultimately, the moment we start thinking, there may be a lot of ideas pouring into us, which need not be something which is very creative or which need not be something which is innovative. So select it, filter it, try to understand in a much deeper angle, and then filter the idea what you want to proceed further. The next level would be like implementing. How are we going to implement? So it is a search, select, implement, capture system. If we are going to implement it, in what way are we going to implement? Where are we going to implement it? And what will be the benefit capture? How are we going to get it? Benefits from it. So are we going to get profit? Or are we going to get an idea which can be converted into a prototype, which could be dwelled upon, which could be launched in a society as a new concept, and we start reaping what we exactly want to do. So to start with, all of us need an innovation strategy which will take us in the right direction, and that will make us to enter into this field of entrepreneurship. So like this, it happens. I've just given you a rough idea. See how uncertain when we start having numerous thoughts, numerous designs, numerous plans. No, everything is raw over a period of time when we start initiating. Lot of researches we need to do because lot of study we have to do because the moment we are going to start with an idea, we need to have clarity and focus. So basically, everything starts this way with rough ideas, rough information, not knowing where we end up with some figures and analysis. And over a period of time, when we do constant research, we try to reach to a state where we have clarity, we are focused, and we come to a clear-cut understanding. This is my baby, this is my concept, and I'm going to get into this field, and I'm going to become an entrepreneur. See, for example, so much of ideas. Normally, we are trying to establish because our mind has got a huge thinking process. Almost all of us encounter in every day. We try to come across so many information, and from there we start thinking, why this cannot happen? This could be a good idea. We can start doing this because every idea which gets birth in us is because of a situation where we are. People try to take that as an opportunity and try to think and try to create as much as possible ideas. Just imagine how many ideas as a human mind somebody could do it. And as over a period of time, you start going deep, doing great research in that particular field, and then finally understanding this, it will be a successful new product. Because our thinking will result in this. Maybe we need to do a lot of research, lot of understanding, go deep in the market, know how it is, understand everything, and then finally we try to filter what is possible and not possible, and then we enter into the arena where we try to come out with one good product or service, and that makes our business. To just give you a sort of self-motivation, a lot of leading entrepreneurs we have. We have so many entrepreneurs who had been successful. If you take the history of across the globe, And we do have, I've not gone into deep of all those how entrepreneurship started, because we have in India, you had a lot of communities, South India, North India, East India, and West India. We had a lot of people who had been cultivating the habit of entrepreneurship. They practiced. It was age old, centuries back. We had this concept, but of late, we are very much in need of this. So these are some examples of leading entrepreneurs across the globe who has done human service and they have made a mark in the business. Now, to just give you some glimpses of the recent successful entrepreneurs, we normally say it's young entrepreneurs. No, just there are some people who are at the age of even 12 who is a successful entrepreneur. These are some entrepreneurs who are more inspiring and who are more successful over a period of time. So coming to the point, what is all required, or maybe what all does one need to start an entrepreneurial venture? The answer is very simple and it is very easy to guess to, but still, this is the answer. Self. Oneself or an individual is the primus factor which is required to start entrepreneurship. So we say self is the primary capital. Unless we are confident, we have the entrepreneurial mindset, we are creative, we are innovative, we have the thirst for doing something, we are curious in performing, nobody else can come and make us an entrepreneur. So the most important capital required is oneself as an individual. So we need to know the moment we try picking up what is entrepreneurship and how are we going to build. Generally, strategic opportunities are categorized into two dimensions: collaborate or compete, build a moat or a storm ahead. So it could be of these two dimensions. When we say collaborate or compete, either we need to try, we are showing the attitude towards trying to accept something or trying to go against somebody as a competitor. When we say a moat or a storm, we try to know, are we going to really innovate and give a breakthrough, a disruptive innovation? So now, when we try to talk on these factors, there are distinct strategies which will guide us regarding customers, regarding technology, try to understand the identity and the competitive space. Now, when we talk about this, these are the four important strategies which one has to understand because that is more important. Many entrepreneurs operating in the fog of uncertainty worry that the exploration will delay commercialization, because ultimately the idea behind entrepreneurship is whatever you convert your idea into a commercialization process. So with a strategy, they come to mind. They start deliberating, they start planning, and they carefully strategize and they take it forward. So there is a possibility of having a strong ecosystem which supports or which drives the business. So when we say that, is there any possibility to plan our strategies in such a way that it will give us a good go, a good recognition in the market, trying to have choices, trying to know the customer, trying to involve technology, and trying to see how you can compete with your competitors. So when we try to do this, we encounter with these four decisions. What we are seeing on the screen: the intellectual property strategy, the value chain strategy, the disruption strategy, the architectural strategy. So now when we speak about intellectual property strategy, see, idea or the baby which we try to push out successfully in the market. So this starts with idea generation, trying to understand who will be the competitor, how are you going to collaborate, are you going to retain the values of the people along with you, and then you try to see to it that your idea is not captured or copied by somebody. You need to protect your idea because that is the brainchild of one's own thought process. There are a lot of things which you need to take into account when you want your idea to be your own idea for a period of time where nobody has got it to be captured or copied. We normally say the concept of licensing, intellectual property, patenting. So all those things is normally told so that it is like nobody else is able to imitate your property. Lot of examples we can give across the globe, like Dolby. You have a lot of R&D, Qualcomm. There are so many people who have certainly licensed, have obtained the property rights so that nobody else is able to acquire and imitate the same component. The next strategy which we need to know in the entrepreneurial compass is disruptive. It involves the decision to compete directly with incumbents. Because when we say disruptive, we are competing with major giants and we are trying to understand that the commercialization of our idea as a product will definitely pave way for development. Disruption entrepreneurs aim to redefine established value chains and companies that dominate those chains. The disruption cannot afford to copy. It's an initial goal to avoid something imitative, and where you try to see the initial choice of customers in a niche segment, trying to provide the best and thereby slowly getting deep rooted into the business. Because the moment you start delaying commercialization, the identity projects, hustle and work, we will not be able to survive. The startup is actually staffed and we are not able to go further. We will not be competitive. Maybe the idea is already taken in by somebody else. A best example which we could talk about in disruption is about the Netflix, which has penetrated the market and they are able to see how customers are able to get adapted themselves to this e-stream, and profitability is one main goal of that. The third strategy when we talk is about value chain. Always when we are disrupting, it is always exciting. And when we start comparing, value chain strategy seems to be a itch. The startup investing in commercialization and day-to-day competitive strength tries to understand whether the new product is acceptable and is it beyond the boundaries and barriers, and there exists a value chain for the particular product. So now the capabilities of an entrepreneur gets translated into enhanced differentiation or a cost advantage once we start establishing our companies. And innovation enhances the competitiveness and thus creates or thus carves out a position in the value chain, and nobody else could replicate what the value you had created in your business. The last strategy would be architectural strategy. Entrepreneurs who choose to succeed will have high public profile when they try to compete with other competitors and try to emerge strong with their design and a new value chain. Best example is Facebook and Google. The origination may be with an underlying innovation, and they try to project and prove that they are the real builders of a particular segment where nobody else could compete So it's not surprising that architectural entrepreneurs try to build platforms rather products. Their platforms are commercialized through other strategies, and they're able to control their value chain. They're able to handhold this value chain with them and emerge successfully. Having spoken about the entrepreneurial compass, I just want to throw some light on the emerging areas. Gone all those days where we were trying to do similar business or sometimes same business, routine activities. Now these are some areas where it is very much in need. You need to have lot of entrepreneurs, young minds coming forward to start something on their own. IoT is one major space where there's a lot of scope, and you have a lot of requirement. There is a huge, say for example, huge market available in case if somebody could have this as a business, and it is very much accessible to small business owners also. Earlier it was something which is taken up by very big companies like Amazon or a big organization like Blink, but today this IoT platform is even managed or controlled or designed by small startups. So this is again a growing arena. The second one is no coding web applications. The moment we see an application or a web application, it involves a lot of coding to be done, which requires a lot of technical knowledge. You need to be a fully fledged software as a service. You need to know all SaaS apps. You need to be a developer or a designer. Today, the trend is that there is no need, or to an extent, a very low code is required. That's a good business. There are a lot of people trying to do this because there is no need for a computer science degree to know this. There's no need for a background in software to understand. So the entire industries are now accessible to non-technical entrepreneurs, because the moment we go into the concept of software and hardware, one need to have a maybe a computer science background or a coding understandability or a language loan. But now these are all some emerging areas where there is a lot of non-technical people getting their own ideas indulged in business. There are a lot of such platforms available. One such platform could be Bubble, Blink, all these platforms. There is no need for you need not have any coding as a background to start such things. So this is one thing. Then you have this content writing. Content writing is one main important thing. Field where there's a need for a lot of people, because today there's a need for quality information to be provided. That is also an emerging area. Email compared to all your other search engine operations, optimizations. Email is also, people are trying to connect through mail. The importance of email is again coming back, because almost all other social media apps doesn't have the full control of what ownership. Email is exclusively for you. You get all the data stored. You know who is your customers. You're able to address them. So you're able to promote your business well. And the next 5 years, this is going to become a real market and real business. We have somebody called as micro influencers and nano influencers. All our digital and social media is becoming a good business arena. New trends come in. You have YouTube, TikTok, you have Insta. Variety of such forums are available where we can influence people, try to find out a good customer database. So now this is also becoming a very good business. We are trying to create an application and we are trying to explore how many of them are using. And it is one strategy. Today's generation is very much interested. And they try to pay the influencers, promote it. They don't mind spending because it is involving with huge brands today. That's also a good business. As I said, content is becoming a great business. And climate tech companies, that is also trying to find out, because they figure about more about the global consciousness, because today we are in a gig economy. We are in a gig economy where we have a diverse workforce. Lot of companies, I think you should be knowing Unicorn, Decacorn, all these people, all these startup funding agencies, they want to promote, they want to take up this gig economy leverage and try to fund and promote, so that the economy starts growing, and it is the easiest way. Say, for example, if you take the example of Airbnb, Uber, all those things, they benefit at a mass. But agree, there are a lot of challenges, but still, you have a good control over the clients and the customers, so that the intermediaries are out of the market, and that becomes eventually a win-win situation for both the customer and the entrepreneur. I think there are different sources of financing entrepreneurship. You have investment, venture capital, business angels, assistance from government, and you have bootstrapping, buyouts. All these things are some forms of funding or financial support given, obtained, which an entrepreneur can use in the long run. I would speak about one or two, because bootstrapping is, again, it's about self-funding, which is a prominent funding type, because at the initial stage of a startup or a business, we need to have our own resources, because we cannot go hunt around the society trying to understand who will fund us unless we have a strong idea in our mind to capture the attention of investors. So bootstrapping is one emerging area. Crowdfunding is, again, taking a loan or a contribution or a pre-order or an investment from more than one person. There are so many people come together and they fund a particular business. We call it as crowdfunding. We have somebody called as angels, business angels, angel investors. They are wealthy individuals who are keen to invest in promising startups. They help many big companies. Just to quote few, Alibaba, Google, you have a lot of companies which are funded by these angel investors, and they try to help mentor young entrepreneurs in addition to the capital they provide. So sometimes, but for all these things, you need to have an effective business plan, because when the moment you try to borrow, you need to come in line with all the strategies which is expected by the person who is going to fund. So that is one thing. Venture capitalist is another term. They professionally manage funds. They invest in small businesses and they try to help you. And sometimes they mentor, expertise, and they also contribute to your success. They help you to slowly, at the initial stage, they try to help you, try to make you comfortable and try to know how to run a business. So through their mentoring support, so that it becomes very easy for us to establish or ground ourselves in the business field. We have these terms, incubator and accelerator. We'll see as we go. This is incubator and accelerator. An incubator could be a person who is able to help you in the early stages. Accelerator comes into role when you start getting established. You are in a stage where you are going to grow. Again, venture capital is a person, is again maybe an individual or an entity who try to support, who try to fund you based on your requirements. We have microfinance providers or non-banking financial companies who also support you. And these are some source of support you get when you are trying to launch your business. So an incubator, maybe a person could support, or a company, they could support you. Now, this one main thing which attracted me was venture studios. See, normally what happens is that it seems to be a different approach. We need to only wait and see how long the success rate of this is happening. Now, when we say venture studio, they create a series of startups from the ground. So from the idea till establishing a unit is taken care by these people. They have their own funds, they have their own experts, they have their own resources. They build up this startup, and then finally they hand it over to somebody who is able to take it further. So it's a combination of venture capital as well as company building. See, instead of they providing loan to the prospective entrepreneurs, what they do is they establish a unit and they try to see whether they can hand it over to somebody who is successful, who can take it further successfully. So normally they are called as serial entrepreneurs, and they try to see whether everything is taken into account from the concept of idea till establishment. And believe me, there is less failure rate in all those businesses which had been helped by venture studio, because their ideas are almost it is very good. It goes both internal and external, and they try to locate, they try to identify from the crowd who can take it further successfully. I just wanted to just throw a glimpse on the government support. How does government support? You have the Startup India scheme. I think I don't want to go in detail because another speaker tomorrow will be focusing on startups, but still, these are some assistance given by the government of India, which tries to promote and support and help entrepreneurs or startups invariably. So as per the government policies, you have something called a Startup India scheme, which tries to help Indian entrepreneurs, and they want to create entrepreneurs so that no, they are in turn providing employment opportunities. There have been a huge amount of funding is allocated for this. You have another scheme which is called as Atal Innovation Mission, which is set up in Niti Aayog, which is trying to promote innovative culture, try to develop and kindle the spirit of entrepreneurship across the country. We have this Atal incubation centers, which are spread across the length and breadth of the country, where each and every Atal incubation center is given a grant of 10 crore, and they try to support financially, infrastructure, all the facilities they try to provide in certain areas which they have been specified: aeronautics, healthcare, technology, AI is one emerging field, AR and VR you have. In all these areas, they try to provide the benefits. You have the scheme, Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises. Again, a government of India initiative for the MSME. They wanted to strengthen the MSME sector. They want to cherish that the entrepreneurs, the first generation entrepreneurs' dream is brought into reality. They contribute and they support through SIDBI, Small Industries Development Bank of India. So they're contributing and they're trying to handhold entrepreneurs whenever there is a need for financial discomfort. Another scheme which is very much of importance is the New Gen Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development Center, where they try to promote, they try to provide assistance for the young science and technology students, as well as inspiring to startup creation. In the sense, they try to help students to develop an idea, and they are networking with the academic institutions, and they encourage academic institutions to pursue students to come out with different ideas. And the assistance is again under the Department of Science and Technology. They provide this scheme wherein they try to convert potential entrepreneurs into business. Mudra is again Micro Units Development and Refinance Agency Bank, which provides loan. Again, they have different types of loans available. It is up to 50,000. They have different platforms and different credit limit. So based on that, the government of India is offering it to provide refinance to microfinance institutions. This is also one. This is normally used by small manufacturers, entrepreneurs, farmers, startups, individuals, shopkeepers, vendors, restaurants. So all these people try to use this loan and they have got largely benefited out of it. Multiplier Grant scheme is also one other scheme by the government of India through the Department of Electronics and Information Technology. They want to encourage R&D development in the country. They aim to collaborate with leading R&D industries and academic institutions for development of products and packages. And it is again a scheme which benefits people at large because they want to, because often what happens, people try to come out with an idea, patent it, procure the intellectual property rights, but often fail in commercializing this product. So this is one scheme which tries to bridge it. You have the Startup Fund, Startup India scheme. Government is trying to, they want to create a large amount of startups, and through the Innovation Council, the Institute Innovation Council, they reach out colleges trying to encourage students who have got the potential to become a good, successful entrepreneur. They provide a lot of assistance. They want institutions to partner with students and faculty, set up their own startups, and try to get the benefit at large. So a lot of initiatives are taken by Government of India, and ultimately the real initiative and the real credit goes to us, as I said in the initial thing. It is with the self who does it. Now, this is what I was speaking about Startup India scheme, wherein we speak about funding and an incubator through the Atal Incubation Center, through all those things, we try to provide these opportunities. And to conclude, it's always this famous quote. The beginning of my lecture, I said it is not that easy to start. But at the end of my lecture, I just wanted to conclude by saying the secret of getting ahead is getting started. Because as I said, there's nothing called as right time and right moment. Every minute is the right time and the right moment to become a successful entrepreneur. Thank you so much for listening to me for an hour. If there is any questions, I would like to take it. Thank you.
The session is open for discussion now. You can unmute and interact with the resource person, or you can post the questions in the chat box also. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all. Dear participants, you can post your queries in the chat box also. Dear participants, do you have any queries?
I've got a question. I think Sir has posted a question. What is the best advice you will give to students who start entrepreneurship who comes from non-business class or caste? That's the interest they have. If if they have the passion, believe me or not, there are a lot of ways to turn them as a successful entrepreneur. If they have, what I said is about the mindset. I was talking about this mindset. If they are having that mindset, definitely we can turn them into a successful entrepreneur. There is no need. That's what I told in the beginning of my lecture. There is no need for, there are some common myths we were discussing. There is no need for all these things. Let them be from a non-business background itself. Provided they have this mindset, they will definitely turn out to be a successful entrepreneur. And lot of schemes, a lot of facilities are there available today. Gone all those days earlier, where a person has to run from pillar to post from the moment he tries to think of a product, conceiving the idea. There will be a lot of people who is ready to listen. Today, there are a lot of people, a lot of investors who are ready, who are very much available. They have the thirst to know what are the ideas surrounding. So to that extent, there is a wide difference from the earlier days and the present context. So definitely, if one has got all those five mindset, five qualities, definitely they will turn out to be a successful entrepreneur. So that's the message we would like to take to the students. You have the passion, you have the willpower, you have the perseverance, you need to withstand circumstances, you will definitely turn out to be a successful entrepreneur.
Any other queries?
There are a lot of books. You have a lot of books. You have books on entrepreneurial mindset. You have books which talks about business plan, how to prepare a business plan. All these things are available. But I would suggest you, because today everything is, again, that is a business. Everything is available on the touch of the button. Why do you want to spend when we are having an entrepreneurial mindset? It's not required to purchase. It's always read. Google is the best book from where we can start learning the variety of experiences each and every entrepreneur has got.
Any other queries? I think there are no more queries from their side, ma'am. Shall we wind up, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, please. Thank you.
On behalf of IoT Academy, we thank Dr. Uma Raman for the excellent session, ma'am. We thank you once again for the amazing presentation, and we thank you for enhancing our knowledge with a commendable presentation. We thank you very much for your efforts, ma'am. It was an informative and amazing session we had today.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks for the opportunity. And thank you for all the people who had been inside for a patient listening. And that too in the afternoon time. I really take this opportunity to thank IoT Academy for giving me this opportunity to share my insights, my experiences with all of you. At this juncture, I also thank all the participants who had been kind enough to listen to this presentation. Hope at least few things would definitely benefit you out of whatever I had tried to bring in and gather and give you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We thank you very much for your efforts, ma'am. Thank
Yeah,
you, ma'am.
thank you.
Thank you. I thank all the participants for joining the session today. Kindly submit the feedback form using the link that has been posted in the chat box. Thank you all. Have a great day. Thank you, ma'am. We thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.